Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another video, and this is a paid request from Rapid Kirby 3K. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, tier lists, rankings, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is a request for a commentary on the Rocketeer, which I haven't seen this in a while, so this will be interesting. But let's get right into it. Stuff lolly-gagging. I'll pause at the beginning for those who want to follow along. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. And for syncing, Walt Disney Pictures has showed up, and they will fade out now. And Walt Disney Pictures presents another one. And then in association with Silverstream Partners 4th. So again, just for syncing. But yeah, the Rocketeer. I do remember seeing this a few times when I was a kid. Joe Johnston. He would go on to direct Jumanji, Jurassic Park 3, Captain America: The First Avenger, which I thought he was a good choice for that film since he made this film. But yeah, he's a director that all those films I mentioned I liked. Jurassic Park 3 is the only one I liked, really, compared to, other than the first one. Well, Fallen Kingdom I don't mind for what it is. It has its issues, but I don't mind it as a time waster. But Jurassic Park 3 I liked. Jumanji I would say is my favorite the director's done. And this and Captain America are good. Captain America: The First Avenger grew on me, I will admit. But overall I do like it. Although some of the CG could be better. But this was in a time where a lot of these kind of movies were coming out. Movies based on comics or material or comic strips that were not your typical Spider-Man, more well-known Marvel DC characters. So Batman comes out in '89. Humongous success, phenomenon. I mean, a complete phenomenon. '89, that was the summer of Batman. And considering you had a summer of Back to the Future 2 and Ghostbusters 2 and Lethal Weapon 2 and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and a lot of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, like Batman was able to stand out. And then studios wanted to hop on that bandwagon. Because Batman Returns would come out in '92 or so. So other studios like, what do we got? Well, there's Dick Tracy. That came out. This film came out in 1991. Dick Tracy was 1990. You had The Shadow that would come out. You had The Phantom that would come out. You had... It wasn't based on something, but still Sam Raimi Darkman. I'm sure Darkman, one of the reasons it was given the thumbs up was, okay, maybe we could get some Batman success out of this. And a lot of those others did not do well. Even this one. This film flopped. I mean, it cost $35-40 million and it made about $40 million. This did not do well. And Dick Tracy underperformed. The Phantom did not do well. The Shadow did not do well. And what they failed to realize is that Batman was a big name. Like, it was a big character IP that people recognize of the decades of comics and cartoons and Adam West TV show and a variety of other venues. These other characters, people didn't know who the hell the Phantom was. People, they may have heard of the name Dick Tracy, but it wasn't as on the tips of tons of kids as something like Batman. But at the same time, I kind of appreciate that era because, number one, they're characters that other than that time, probably would not have gotten the chance to get a movie, to get that opportunity. And some of them I like. This is a good one. I liked The Phantom with Billy Zane. The Shadow could not get into. It has some good aspects to it. I mean, Dartman wasn't based on a previous character, but still it has that comic book feel, and that's a film I do like. Now, I believe the comic for this was 1982, I want to say. And definitely an ode to the yesteryear of comic strips and serials. And not the kind you eat, but with an S. The type of serials that would be inspiration for Indiana Jones and even Star Wars, and then, you know, because he had Flash Gordon and all that stuff. Some familiar people we've seen here. The cop here in the passenger seat shooting the gun now. That is Ed Lauter. Ed Lauter was the guy who helped Charles Bronson's character in Death Wish 3. He played the cop in there, and there's a bit with him and Bronson going down the street in Death Wish 3 shooting the bad guys. That's Ed Lauter, so he's, I think, the FBI agent who is chasing these bad guys. We'll see him again, but Alan Arkin as sort of the father figure mentor of our lead character. Rest in peace, Alan Arkin. Good character actor. He's a lot of fun in this movie. Now our lead here, real quickly, I do think the director did a really nice job capturing the feel, the aesthetic of the 30s. So the costumes, the cars, like I said, it made sense why they picked this guy to do Captain America the First Avenger. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because he does capture that vibe and feel of the era in this like he did in Captain America. Now, of course, our character's plane got shot down a bit. There's Alan Arkin. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. Of course, Alan Arkin, he was in Glengarry Glen Ross. He was in Grosse Point Blank. I always remember John Cusack's, I'll give it a shot. No, don't shoot anybody. Just go to your go to your reunion. Don't shoot anybody. But he was fun in that film as the psychiatrist to the hitman played by John Cusack. But the way they utilize the sequences here, like a lot of his stuff done practical, like that's a real plane losing its leg, and then your real plane sliding down, skidding across the runway, all done for real in camera. Nowadays, they would just make that a throwaway CGI effect. Back then, you could not hinder on that. So we have to try to make it as practical as can be. And to me, that makes it last longer. Because you cannot get more real than real. It doesn't feel tacky like a crappy CGI effect can. Or a CGI effect that later on is and becomes. That's weird. I looked at Billy Campbell, the lead character. He's dressed like. Remember Brendan Fraser in The Mummy? I swear that's like the same outfit Brendan Fraser has in The Mummy. The white shirt, the pants, the suspenders. And of course, The Mummy was 99. This was 91. So. I mean, did someone see this movie and go, let's make Brendan Fraser look like Billy Campbell's character in The Rocketeer? Because I swear, like, look at how he's dressed and then replace his face with Brendan Fraser. That's O'Connell and that's Rick in The Mummy. Of course, these guys are looking for the rocket. Now, Billy Campbell, I know the studio did not want him because he was not an A-list guy. And to be honest, I don't even know what else he's done since then. I'm trying to remember the movie. There was a thriller where he was like an abusive boyfriend, abusive husband. I'm not sure if it was like Jennifer Lopez, like someone else. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. But again, they did not want Billy Campbell. They wanted someone, an A-lister. They wanted Johnny Depp, people like Caruso, Dennis Quaid, Emilio Estevez. They auditioned for the job. But eventually the director and such said, no, Billy Campbell's the guy. And Billy Campbell, he has a nice charm to him and worked well as Cliff. Of course, here we have Terry O'Quinn as Howard Hughes. Terry O'Quinn, of course, he was in the 80s film The Stepfather, among others. He was in the movie The X-Files, the first one. He was the guy at the FBI where he's looked at the bomb and you think he's going to disarm it, but then he lets it blow because you realize, oh, he's part of the conspiracy. Which is weird because he was also on the TV show Millennium, but playing a very different character. And Millennium X-Files are related, so it's weird. Millennium and X-Files are in the same universe, but Terry O'Quinn is in it and plays... Well, I mean, there are other actors that they're in one role and then they come back and they're in a different role, so that did happen once in a while. But yeah, I always thought it was weird. Like, wait, Terry Quinn's on Millennium as like the kind of a buddy to Lance Henriksen's character, but now he's in the X-Files, but he's a different character. Now this guy on the right here, he's been in a lot of stuff. That's John Polito. John Polito, I think he was in The Big Lebowski. I think he was the guy somewhere in the third act where you find out he's been following The Big Lebowski. So I want to be a detective like you. He had a bit role. Was that... I'm not trying to remember now. Some horror films back to the day. But yeah, John Polito, just another one of those character actors that had a good personality. Billy Campbell did a good job, but you know what? I could have seen Bruce Campbell in this role as well. But I think Bruce Campbell would have brought a bit more of that sarcastic charm, while Billy Campbell has a little bit of that wide-eyed innocence to him. So yeah, when this film came out, it got about 60... I think they said like 67% of Rotten Tomatoes. Of course, Rotten Tomatoes wasn't a thing back then, but apparently if you accumulate the reviews. And there is a fan base for this movie. I know my friend Mike OCP Communications. I think back in the day he was more of a bigger fan, and now he likes the film, but I think that's died down a bit. And I can understand that, because it is a fun film. I would not say it's one of my favorites. I do wish there was a bit more action. Sometimes I wish there was a bit more energy to certain sequences, but it's got a lot of good merit to it. I love the design of the rocket here. I think it's really cool, neat design. Some good camera work there, showing a little bit of the POV before it crashes through the wall. Nice practical before that, where the burst of fire and the people are like around it, so there's always a chance of getting burnt up from that. But yeah, it's cold. And I think it's refreshing to see films like this and other stuff because how many Spider-Man films do we have? How many Superman films do we have? How many Batman films do we have? But to see, oh, I like this reveal where they start to realize what it truly is. Like, oh shit, that's what this is. That's what it's capable of. That's what, how it could be used. But anyway, it was just nice to see something. I don't want to say original, but whether you want to call it an IP, just something that's not being utilized much to be given a chance. Like Blue Beetle. Am I a fan of the film Blue Beetle? No. But hey, are there other films I get mad at more? Sure. Okay, Blue Beetle got its shot. I didn't think it was that good of a movie. But it's honestly one of those movies that I've forgotten all about, and I think most people have. He had a shot. I think it failed. Because it didn't make a dent into anything, but, you know, okay. I'd rather see something a bit more unique try to come out than the 85th fucking Spider-Man movie. Now, the guy who was talking there with the hat and the flower, that was Paul Sorvino, this guy here. Another great character actor. Loved him in Money Talks. He had some good back and forth between him and Chris Tucker. Because he played the father-in-law. Because Charlie Sheen's supposed to get married, and then he's like the father-in-law. How about some Colt 45? He was also a lot of fun in The Stuff. And the posters block it, but I actually have a bit of The Stuff. The Larry Cohen film, because he was like one of these military guys that's always ready for, you know, got their guns ready and stuff, and our main characters get help from them to try to combat the stuff. Not a militia, but like just a group of armed guys ready to go. And Paul Sorvino's a lot of fun in that. Now, of course, here we have Timothy Dalton. I like the idea that he was playing an action star actor of this time, and that happened to be the villain of the piece. So he was, I would say, like if Errol Flynn was a bad guy. That's kind of how I always thought he was basing himself off of. Like the look of him kind of reminds me of Errol Flynn, and the stuff with the sword, the fencing, the kind of movies he would do. So I like the fact it was like this old. Well, this movie star of old as in this is the 30s. So I like that. Thought that was an interesting idea, because usually villains they have a certain business, they have a certain corporation they work for, or the military, or their officer of the Nazi, or whatever regime. But okay, a movie star, that's a villain. Okay, didn't mind that. And of course, Timothy Dalton is a nice choice because he's James Bond. License to Kill, Living Daylights. I do wish Timothy Dalton had gotten more time to play James Bond, at least one more movie. Again, it's a shame he only got 2 films. I think Timothy Dalton got the shit end of the stick, because I think both his films were good. Timothy Dalton was also good in Hot Fuzz, and of course he was in Flash Gordon from 1980. I know there were other people up for the role, but I can't remember. I would bet they wanted to get someone like Alan Rickman, but I can't remember. Look it up. Because I think it has a Blu-ray, but I don't think it really has much for features. So as they're doing this test here, bye-bye. Well, shit. I guess we're not getting it back now. Your chain didn't quite work. Hey, Alan Arkin's a lot of fun in the movie. Oh, there you go, right behind them. How lucky is that I was able to land right back to where they need to go? Serendipitous. How lucky was that? Yeah, I think they gotta say, like, when you're going, you need a helmet. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else I was going to say. If you hear background noises, people doing construction work over there. Oh yeah, there was a Blu-ray, but it really had nothing on it. Now I remember hearing, like, there was a Q&A being done, and I think the guy, it might have been outside Q&A, or I can't remember. My friend Mike would know more than this. Kevin Smith was there, which, for I understand, he wasn't even much into the movie. Like, it's not like a diehard fan of it, and he's doing the Q&A, and he's doing his usual, and he's cussing, he's, which is, when he's talking about his own movies, that's fine, but when you're talking about this kind of movie, let's say Disney wanted to put that on the Blu-ray, they would not because of all the cursing. They probably would be too lazy, didn't want to take the time to go through and have to dub through all that shit. So, but yeah, it would have been nice to have like an actual documentary, interviews about the film. It would have been nice, but you know, sometimes that's not the case. And then we have the beautiful Jennifer Connelly. Which for a while there, I don't know why I thought of this, but it felt like she had bad luck where a lot of the films she was in either didn't do well or underperformed. Side Labyrinth, I don't think performed as well as they wanted. Career Opportunities didn't do much. This film didn't do much. Hulk from 2003 underperformed. I mean, she was in Top Gun Maverick, right? If so, that did well. Yeah, that was it. But it's like, damn, like a lot of other films didn't do the greatest. But Trevor Connelly, beautiful lady, definitely a good choice, and these two worked well together. $1991, man, there's a lot of good movies in 1991. Yes, of course. It's the 30s, so there's going to be references to what's going on with the war, the World War II. Don't tell me to shut up, Lee. You shut the fuck up. Yeah. This guy ain't gonna make it. Now, this big guy definitely reminds me of like a Dick Tracy villain. I think it's a Lothar. So the guy who plays this big guy Lothar is Tiny Ron Taylor. Of course, the irony is that he's called tiny, but he's tall as fuck. The other film I remember him in is he was in Roadhouse, the Patrick Swayze film. He was one of the bad guy minions. Of course, very tall. I think the bit where you have Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott fighting the guys, I think he's a guy taking the beer and just slamming it down. I think it's him, like just taking the beer off the truck, slamming it, taking it, slamming it. I think that was him. But I think he's called the Mountain in Roadhouse. The rocket. Where's the rocket? Yeah, this cop definitely ain't doing his job. It's too late for that. That cop's going to get fired. That cop's going to come back and get his ass chewed out. What the fuck were you doing? You're right out the window and the guy died. Bulldog Cafe. Just the design of the outside is just pretty funny. Sorry, responding to someone. Now that guy there who got the stuff in the soup, that right there is but the guy that got the thing in the soup, the guy that was apologizing, the older guy, that's Eddie Jones. Now I remember him, he was Jonathan Kent, Pod Kent in Lois and Clark, the Dean Cain Superman series. He's been in other stuff too, but that's what I remember. So yeah, that's Eddie Jones, Pod Kent himself from Lois and Clark. And the guy behind him, or to the right of him, if that guy looks familiar, that's William Sanderson. Yeah, the guy right, that's William Sanderson, who was in Blade Runner, and he was Larry, I think, on the TV show Newhart. He's been in a few stuff throughout the years. So yeah, Billy Campbell after this was in Bram Stoker's Dracula as Quincy Morris. He was in Daddy's Bird. He was in Menno's Mind, which is funny because Bruce Campbell's in that film as well. Enough. That's the film I was thinking of, where he's the abusive boyfriend, husband. Yeah, Enough with Jennifer Lopez. I thought that was him, but I wanted to make sure. I forgot he was in the I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot. That's right. I completely fucking forgot he was in that. The Mayor of Southport. I completely forgot. It's easy to forget about that damn film. Wow. Shit. Now, Alan Arkin, like I said, he's been in a lot of stuff, man. Wait Until Dark, Catch 22, Freebie and the Bean, The Last Unicorn, Edward Scissorhands, Glengarry Glen Ross, Grosse Point Blank, Little Miss Sunshine, Marley and Me, Argo. I guess he was in Dumbo. I know he was in that Stallone, Robert De Niro, Sylvester Stallone film, Grudge Match. Sally. Dave Stevens created the character, and 1983, Stevens sold the film rights to the character. Steve Miner, who did Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3, House, Halloween H2O, Lake Placid, he considered directing it, as well as William Deere. Isn't that the guy who did Harry and the Hendersons? Yeah, and If Angels in the Outfield, If Looks Could Kill. But it didn't happen. Creative differences with Disney, development hell. I think this definitely comes off as an Errol Flynn type of role. Not quite the performance he was looking for. A TV series premiered in 2019. It's focused on the 7-year-old great granddaughter who sees the Rocky becomes the new Rocketeer. Cancelled after one season. Yeah, no one remembers that fucking show. Cartoon. There was thoughts of doing a trilogy, but the first one didn't do well. Thoughts of rebooting. I don't think they're ever going to reboot. I mean, they did that cartoon because they thought that was more manageable on TV and such. But yeah, they're not going to try to do like a something that you gotta put a lot more money into it. I just don't see them doing that. I don't see them doing that because no one remembers. I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. I was just looking through other stuff, but And of course, but for him the right timing, for them the bad timing, that he happens to be right there at the right moment to hear this conversation going on. To know what the hell is going on. Thanks for telling me, dickhead. I do think it's a pretty cool jacket he's got on, though. Cliff, that is, Billy Campbell's character. Pretty cool jacket. He's like, everybody get the fuck out of my way. Of course, one of those days, everybody just has to get in your way, don't it? Everybody's got to get in your way. Timothy Dalton does do a good job of feigning. I mean, it makes sense because he is an actor, but he's playing an actor, so he's good at pretend. He's good at forcing, faking, faux sincerity. That's what the word I'm looking for. Fake sincerity, which is needed to get her to trust him, believe in him, think he's a cool guy, cool dude, in order to get the information he needs. Like that wide shot alone, where you just have the three planes being so close together and going by the big balloon and over the stuff that I don't know if they built the location, like, or maybe this hangar here and stuff, like this stuff was there to begin with and they were able to find it, or they had to build it because it has to look like a certain time period. So, or did they look around and go, well, we found this building in the back, but let's retrofit some, like the sign and stuff to make it seem like it's the 30s. Turn on my phone, I should have looked if there's anything on the Blu-ray. Wonder, I don't even know if there's a commentary. And everyone looked. Well, I guess I don't blame them. I'd be looking for Jennifer Connelly as well. We'd all be looking for her. But yeah, I think at the time, like, it was competing with films like City Slickers and I'm trying to remember what else. The weekend it came out, I can't remember. Because I think it debuted number 4. I believe it did. Oh, there you go. Well, clown, ain't no funny business anymore, is it? But this is something that you expect. You have this smaller event happens where you introduce our hero doing his heroic deed, because that way you build up to it. You build up the events, you build up the escalation until you get to the end, where it's this big event set piece to leave the audience with a bang, or hopefully. And I knew there's a video games based on this too. There's one for Nintendo. I think there's one for Super Nintendo as well. I do love the look. I love the mat, the helmet, the rocket. Like, I think it's a very cool look. And I think that I had, it was like an action figure, but it was like rubbery. So like you could bend it a little bit if you want to. It wasn't plastic. It was rubber, like a rubber figure of the Rocketeer in that like flying pose. That was a long time ago. I don't know what happened to it, but it was there. See, good Star Wars too. Like that's an actual free fall by actual living, breathing person. Now that, of course, is the effect, but actually, free fall was a real person. But I think even like that's another free. I don't know about that shot, but the other one was a free fall. But I think this stuff here still looks pretty decent for the time. I mean, hell, you look at another film I reviewed that came out a few years after this, The Adventures of Pinocchio. The cricket in that looks like garbage because it's just all CG. Here, it seems like maybe they did it kind of like how they did the old Supermans. I mean, you have the actual person, and then you have like a backdrop. When you have an actual person in there, there might be some animation in there, but the more you involve the actual person, the more it sells the scene. The movements, the reactions, etc. Because we all can sense if that's a real person or not, because we all see, do, meet people who move same or similar ways. And that's pretty cool. And yeah, I love the look, the aesthetic of the Rocketeer. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, take your clothes. Yeah, nice POV there through the cornfield. I mean, it definitely has that humor in it, kind of leading to possibly silly slapstick humor, or the humor of people being nonchalant and reacting. That definitely has that early Disney, live action Disney flavor to it. I like it. But it's charming, though. It does have a charm to it. And this thing, Disney films in this era, a lot of them did have charm. Not talking about just the animated, even the live action. They had Cool Runnings was Disney, and that had a charm to it. They don't have that nowadays. Not at all. A lot of things have changed on that front, and not for the better. Up, here you go. I should mention the score by James Horner. Very nostalgic score that fits the tone, the time period. Has that whimsical do 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 do. I'm doing a horrible job, but that part, and then when he is getting the Rocky ready and the American flag's behind him, and Paul Sorvino's like, "Get him, kid." I like the music in that section as well. I would say those are my two favorite pieces of score. But I mean, James Horner, rest in peace to him. Dad died way too young. They have a helicopter crash, I believe. It was a helicopter crash. But yeah, the guy, man, he did Aliens, which I have the poster behind me, which is my favorite movie. Love that score. He did Star Trek 2, and I think Star Trek 3. He did a lot of scores throughout the years, and would work with, I think, Braveheart, Titanic. Very good. Sometimes he would steal a bit too much from himself. Project X, for example, I remember I like that movie, Matthew Broderick. I like that movie quite a bit. And I like the score, but you just hear in the score that there's certain moments, there's certain scenes where this score is very reminiscent in scenes from Aliens or scenes from other stuff. And it's like, okay, are you just stealing from yourself, dude? What the hell? So sometimes he had, I mean, I guess it's better than stealing from somebody else. But sometimes I would hear a story, I'm like, well, that seems very reminiscent to a story you did before. But, I mean, I guess there's other composers you could say the same thing about. Yeah, that face is definitely like out of like Dick Tracy. Damn. Ooh. Where's the rocket? Oh yeah, yeah. At least it's been a while since I've seen this, so Guns a-blazing right here and there. Tommy guns and all. Two pistol bait. What are you? Think you are John Woo? Think you Chow Yun Fat Lothar? Two guns banging? Pistol packing? Why is no one covering the back? What the hell kind of cops are these? No one is covering the back. So of course they don't think they did it because they don't know about Lothar. So they don't think these two are the murderers. Murderers, the culprits. Interesting set design there with the clam. I did some really nice set design in this. So definitely some nice kudos to the production designer for how some of these places look. I think for some people, if they're expecting more of a straightforward like action movie, they might be disappointed. But it's like it is a Disney film too. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Like for an audience, it's either some people thought it was Disney, so they thought it'd be too for kids, and then the kids maybe they thought, well, they want something a bit more. You know, I don't know. I think the reason it didn't do well is because no one knew what the Rocketeer was, and I don't know about the marketing. I mean oh shit, that's Clint Howard, right? Was that Clint Howard? The poster's cool. I don't know about the trailer. I don't know if the trailer sold the movie the best. I don't know. Because I know a lot of Disney films, they had that one narrator that always talked like this, and it has this kind of voice to him where you hear that voice and you just assume kids' movie. I don't know how to put it. Anyway. While this happened, let me look up real quick the Rocketeer Blu-ray. Yeah, because I remember, I think my friend is like it's the 20th anniversary Blu-ray, but there's really nothing on it. Yeah, all it has is a trailer. Not even a commentary, dude. What the fuck? Like, why? So, Timothy Dalton and Billy Campbell on the Arsenio Hall show back in the day for this movie. You find a couple interviews for Billy Campbell, which again I guess made sense because this is really the biggest film he was ever a part of. Yeah. It's funny when you look back on movies that take place in this time period and you just look at the prices and you go, man, I wish those prices were today. Don't we all? Just insane prices. Uh-oh. I think as a kid, for me, just when I would see films like this, I looked at the cover, the costume. I'm like, I want to see as much as that as possible. And so when they give you, again, just a few instances, I think as a kid, I remember being, I don't mind it, but I was disappointed in it because, as a kid, you're just wanting more. But again, I can appreciate the way the film looks, the way it tries to make it look like the late 30s, the aesthetics of it, the feel that Joe Johnston did a good job with. Characters. Guess you don't like the coffee. What's wrong with the coffee? Nice push in there. And again, like Billy Campbell had the right. I can see why they cast him just based on the eyes themselves. And all that sounds weird, but the eyes tell that story. Like right there, that oh shit, they found out. Oh shit, they know who she is. Oh shit, they know where she possibly is, and could be a good way of conveying it. Yeah, so they feel that, oh well, she's with the, uh-oh. Nice right cross there, and a left cross, and another right cross. There you go. For those following along as a podcast, it's the cafe. Bad guys came in looking for Jennifer Connelly. They make the phone call. They realize, oh, she's with Timothy Dalton's character. Both of them left except two. Then one of them found a picture of our lead character, Jennifer Connelly, and said, oh, wait a minute. They are or were an item. bullet in it. Of course. The good old bubble gum. Which, of course, that will be utilized later for Timothy Dalton's character death scene. It was a pretty good sequence. Well, I was saying, yeah, there was a lot of these type of films back then, but like I said, other than Batman, none of them succeeded. Like Dick Tracy, man, they put a lot of marketing into Dick Tracy. They really wanted that to be the new. It's weird to say the new Batman because it was only a year later, but they were hoping for the success of Batman. So there's Dick Tracy, Sega Genesis, Nintendo, all these video games, lunchboxes, Madonna, the song, soundtrack, acting. And like you got Dustin Hoffman, you got Al Pacino. Like you had an insane cast. Like you look at all the fucking people in that movie, it's crazy. I mean, Al Pacino's your main villain. Fucking, unless it Dustin Hoffman's in a role as Mumbles. Was it William Forsythe? And it's a lot of actors, man. And Dick Tracy has his merits. It does. And there's parts of it that's pretty good, but there's parts of it just like the whole Madonna stuff I didn't care for. I don't think she was good in the film. The stuff with the kid I didn't give a whole lot of shit about. When do we eat? Don't eat my fist in your face. You know, shut up, kid. When do we eat? Eat a dick. Shut up, kid. This one I would say feels like the pacing is a bit more manageable, a bit more of an escalation of events. And in the Phantom, it's actually, I mean, I think the Phantom idea, people didn't know much about what the character was, the source material. So they go, who's the Phantom? And then they see this guy in purple tights. And when you look at the outfit at a glance, it does look ridiculous. It's a guy all dressed in purple. But you see, I mean, that's not, I mean, you don't stick out from a crowd wearing all purple people eater. But there's a lot of, being faithful to the source material, which is a thing they don't do, at least costume wise, that they don't do now. I mean, hell, there's a Green Lantern show that doesn't have green in the title because Green Lantern is stupid. Yeah, I guess that's why the costumes look gray and not green or beige or whatever the fuck. I mean, they certainly don't look like green. I mean, the writer of that show, Damon Diddlefuck, whatever his name is. Oh, green. We didn't call it Green Lantern because green. We all know Green Lantern is stupid. Then why the fuck did you want to write for a Green Lantern show if you think that's stupid? Hey, let me write a Superman movie, but man, Superman? That's such a stupid name. We don't call it Man. There you go. Do a Superman TV show. Call it The Man. Do a Batman show. Call it The Bat. Or Bats. I don't know how the fuck some of these guys get jobs. But they do. They keep failing upward, it seems. What can you do? Sorry, I'm not saying much. I mean, whatever happens, happens. I don't really know, really have much else to say about the film. Other than I liked it because the charm of the time period being utilized with the good costumes and production design. The actors are game for what's needed to be done. Billy Campbell has that innocent spark in his eyes, likable character. Timothy Dalton does a good job as the villain. Jennifer Connelly's beautiful. When that rocket stuff is in there, cool outfit, action scenes, has a good competence to it. There's that big motherfucker again. The ring around a rosy jamboree on the dance floor. Get away from that tall son bitch. This is definitely a film that I'm sure looks quite quaint compared to like when they do a superhero film today and you just see how the bigger action set pieces, but also very overly induced with CGI and everything of the sort. But again, while it may not have big, a ton of big action set pieces, it does have, again, a sense of charm and fun. And when they happen, like, that was cool. Oh shit. Sorry, guys. I love how the tables react to being coasted over with those flames. I thought that was a nice little detail there. It's a bad mistake, lady. Don't go in there. Don't write that thing. It's not a never-ending story. That reminds me of one of those creatures, never-ending story that the one guy was writing. That snail. Only this one's made of ice. Oh shit. There you go. Let's see if you take that. And that's another cool moment. Going up in the air, crashing through the skylight. It was a bad mistake to go back. I mean, at least eventually there was a point where she happened to be there to help fuck up that Lothar guy so he did escape. If she went back in and then did absolutely nothing, that'd be a bit more frustrating. Just like, damn, it was all for nothing. But she went in, wanted to see how he's doing, did help out, and despite her courage, got captured. At least there was some, I don't know how to put it, there's something came about him being pointless. Got 35 we got 35 minutes left of the film. I mean, I think we only see the Rocket one more time, and it's for the climax where Paul Sorvino goes, "Go get him, kid," and he goes up to the blimp, the hidden bird type of a blimp, to go rescue our lady here. Let's go find out. He's a spy, he's a saboteur, he's with the Nazis. Let me look up. It was bugging me a bit. I need to look up when this film came out. What was it up against? Because it only made $46 million, had a $9 million opening weekend. So if I can find it. Oh, come on. Oh, is that going to really? Is that going to show me? Oh, really? Is that going to... Not single day. Really? Is that going to show me, guys? Come on. Says that going to show me much. Let me go here. Alright, so number one was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. In its second week, got number one. City Slickers. In its third week, got number two. Dying Young got number three. Which, that's a Julia Roberts movie? Well, I guess he had, something for the adults or whoever. Then the Rocketeer for more of a younger generation. That debuted number four. Number 5, Backdraft. Number 6, Jungle Fever. Number 7, What About Bob? Number 8, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Number 9, Soap Dish. And number 10, Thelma and Louise. And that was June 21st of 1991. But yeah, you had The Sounds of the Lambs, you had Kindergarten Cop, you had... Well, technically, Kindergarten Cop was December 1990. So damn, even after that long, from December to June, it was still at number 14. Damn. Yeah, that's crazy. So I just don't have much to say about this section. Other than Jennifer Connelly looking really, really good yet again. Looking really, really good. Nice. Nice. The Conquest of Casanova. Well, there you go. That's always fun when you have movies that, you know, have these secret passages, secret bookcases, stuff like that. Designs of the rocket. Mr. Peabody. Where's Sherman? That's another interesting thing is that with this character, like he's a comic book character, but unlike most of them, it's not someone who's a cop who knows how to shoot, knows how to drive in a car chase. Is, you know, he throws a few fists, but he's not like this expert fighter. He doesn't have tons of gadgets. He's not, like I said, adept at gunplay. He's just a regular. He's a pilot that could kind of fly a bit. So that there makes it a bit different from other comic book films. And maybe there's some people that wanted more of that typical of that stuff that I just mentioned. That, you know, and I like that stuff too. And then this one was a, you know, bit different from that. Which is why you don't have as many action scenes. And when they do, it's not typical of the action of this era. I mean, yeah, I think in the 80s you had the Rambo films, Die Hard, RoboCop, Predator, much more, and then of course Batman just a few years before this. Hell, even a year before, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, them doing martial arts and all this other stuff. But to say for one more time, the Rocketeer is not a familiar IP. Like I said, I didn't even know it was based on a comic book. I don't know how many people did. In fact, for years I thought, oh, it was just some original idea they came up with because I didn't pay attention to the opening credits of created by. I just, you know, kind of glazed over that, but I just thought, oh, it was just idea they came up with, and I don't think there's a lot of ardent readers of the comics, so and sometimes people are not willing to check out something that's new or do something that's take a chance. Tara Quinn's a really good actor as well. And that's another thing that worked is that you had a lot of good, competent character actors in this that knew how to do their jobs well, and it's nice spices for the dish. And that's another thing I like about it. Just like almost everywhere you turn, it's like there's Paul Sorvino's Tara Quinn. Just a good supporting cast to do their job. Support. They support the film. They help the film carry on itself. And you don't really have tons of character actors nowadays. You really don't. One of the many things that have been lost. Ooh. Blues top. I do remember this, the film where it's like the army of flying men. Yeah, here. This like cartoon. I always thought this looked cool because it reminded me of the Fleischer Superman cartoon, which I love the Fleischer Superman cartoons. Again, this is what it reminded me. And I did see those back in the day. I think they were like taped on a VHS tape or something. Or maybe we had a VHS tape, but yeah, I always thought that looked really, really cool. This whole sequence here. Europa. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means first Europe, then the world. I mean, is it practical to have everybody flying like that? It's like, well, okay, if they're flying like that, couldn't you just shoot them in the air? I guess if, in planes you have this type of protection around you, would you have that much protection if you just, you know, I guess if you wear a bulletproof vest, if they have bulletproof vests back then, which I don't know if they even had that, so. That is a good stunt as well. Simple but effective stunt there. I like the little bit where Howard Hughes like, oh, it actually flies, it floats. Nice little symbolism there. And I mean, that's the thing. Howard Hughes, I've heard, is like was a really weird, eccentric guy. So they definitely put him a bit more of a positive light in this movie. I will say that. Probably one of the more positive looks at Howard Hughes. Because I've heard that he was a bit of a weird, some would say a crackpot. Some would say otherwise, but I mean, or at least eccentric. Guess that's in the eye of the beholder. Or for those who want to delve as much deep into his biography. I also liked here, as coming up, how when these guys realize that these folks are working for the Nazis, and he's like, I'm paying you, not for this. That money is one thing, but they are patriotic, and they care about their country. So I do like that little added bit to Paul Sorvino's character when they realize. That's coming up in a bit. Again, the eyes, like Billy Campbell. Again, I mean, I sound it, but the eyes definitely do a good job on the acting, where he's able to sell his emotions, his sense of confusion, his sense of wonder, and then the sense of determination. I'm smiling because I love this term with Paul Sorvino's character, where he is like, wait a minute, what? Who have we been working for? Even they hate the Nazis. I like the usage of the blimp as well, because that wasn't like a typical. I mean, there was of course, the hidden bird based on the actual disaster that had George C. Scott. You had, was it Black Sunday, the one where the at the football game, a little bit of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, no ticket, but it wasn't like a typical contraption to be used, or was used. And one of the few times Paul Sorvino gets to be an action hero, which I'm sure he liked, This is not something he, again, got to do typically. Shooting Nazis, kicking ass with a Tommy gun. That guns a blazing. Dude, don't be talking shit. You don't get your ass thrown out of the fucking blimp. Cop and crook working together. Who would have thunk it? Yeah, here you go. You know, the American flag here. A very cool moment. Probably one of my favorite moments in the movie. See, I love that. I don't know what it is, but I love Paul Sorvino saying that, "Go get him, kid." I think just like, not only because I like the actor, now is like a good button to the scene, but it's just a nice kind of end to Paul Sorvino's like character arc from one to the other, from mafioso villain to he's got some patriotism in there, in that heart of his. Again, because of the type of person he is and because of the type of character, you're not going to have this big, like, bombastic, defeating the bad guys, fighting everybody, all this other stuff. It's just. But you just say that's even more heroic, that a guy who can't do that is still willing to face adversity and have courage to do the right thing, especially for the person he loves. So much for that gun. You would think Lothar, if he knew someone was up, would have asked someone for a gun before he went up. There you go. Someone wants to say hi. Ooh, shit. Damn guy went through the other side of the windows. Damn. So much for your pilot. Not the thing to say. I mean, typically Dalton, he just has that good villainous charm to him. This is what villains we used to have. Your Alan Rickman in Die Hard, your John Lithgow in Cliffhanger, your Tommy Lee Jones in Under Siege. Lance Henriksen and Hard Target or Stone Cold. Alan Rickman and Quigley Down Under. I mean, you don't get that anymore, man. You don't get that anymore. The villains are either just fucking forgettable, had no room to be fun, charming villains, or just smart decision. Okay, you want to fly it? Be my guest. You don't like the result. I do my own fighting. I do my own stunts. I just kind of, as I'm watching this fight, I kind of picture myself in Billy Campbell's position, where, at least he did do films afterward. He was enough with Jennifer Lopez. He was in that new I Know He Did Last Summer. So he's worked from time to time throughout, so able to find work on that. But think about, like, you're making this film, and you're thinking in the back of your head, this is going to be the film that will set the rest of my life. The rest of my life will determine based on how this film does. Damn, good work on the flare. At the bouncing of the flare and stuff. That was a neat effect of how they did that. I think Dalton just kills it, man. I did that back to my mom, but yeah, it ain't going well for you, dude. Grandiose death. Nice practical model work explosion there. Which again is something they don't do much nowadays. But yeah, Billy Campbell, like, this is your shot. You're doing the film, you're doing the job well, you have good actors, good composer, James Horner, capable director, and then it goes out there, and it's a film that does have an audience. People, there are people that liked it, and it just doesn't catch on at that time. Imagine if it did. Imagine if this made, $100 million, or 110, or 120. You do a second one, you do a third one. Maybe, hey, we will hire this guy for another project. Is this the star of the Rocketeer? We can market it with that. Hopefully get some eyeballs onto there. And then that doesn't come to be. And then some people go, I don't know about this guy. He was in that one film that, didn't do well, so casting should be based on talent, but casting does occur based on if they can market you, if they can sell you, if they can sell your name, your picture, advertisements, posters to get people in, because it's still a business. Ain't your friends, ain't show friends, it's show business. And they ain't your friends at times, they're your bosses at times. And obviously Billy Campbell's career went a different way, more low key, under the radar way, and sometimes that's how it goes. But It does seem he's pretty proud of the film, and I guess you could say at least there's one film. I mean, me, you, others that don't even have that one film. So I imagine the one film being some piss poor like these Steamboat Willie horror films I've been watching. Here at least you, yeah, that one moment of shine, and yeah, not everybody gets that. So I do wonder what would have been if they had done a sequel. Well, let's say this was successful, and in 93, 94, probably 93, because they wanted out. They wanted out as soon as possible, so the writer's strip, make the film. 92 would be too soon. Although those films had done that. Ninja Turtles See Through the Ooze, one from 1990, then the second one 91. But if you want a little bit of space, okay, put it in 93. I do wonder what could a sequel have been entailed. I don't know. But there you go. Nice little reward there. Good looking plane. And then, you know what? Maybe it's fine it didn't get a sequel. Things seem to have ended well. He's got his best buddy here. He's got his girl here. His love of his life. He got a new plane. So I guess this is like a little setup for a sequel that maybe he will build another one of these things or something. Again, what that would have entailed in the future, I don't know. I would like to have heard like the writer, whoever, of what I don't know. I just it'd be cool to know to. While the credits are playing, let me look up and see if there was ever any. They thought maybe they to do like a trilogy, but what would the plot have been? Creator Dave Stevens and screenwriters Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo envisioned it as the first entry of a trilogy. Disney in particular hoped the film would carry a vein similar to Indiana Jones franchise. Both Billy Campbell and Jennifer Connelly were contracted for sequels. Campbell for 2 more, Connelly for 1 more. Disappointing box office performance. Sequel plans were halted. I'm trying to see. No, just that in 2012, Disney was reported to be developing a remake. I guess at one point James Wan was talked about directing the film. In 2016, there was going to reboot called The Rocketeers. A reboot sequel takes place 6 years after the original film with a black female pilot in the lead role. Oh, Jesus. In 2020, a new draft was written. Some guy named J.D. Dillard was set to direct, who did a film called Slight. The Return of the Rocketeer was announced in 2021. With the guy who played Martin Luther King Jr. in Selma, possibly starring in it. And him and his wife as producers. On a former Tuskegee airman who inherits the rocket pad uniform and the heroic mantle. And so far, there's nothing. So, yeah, I just don't think there's a following for the movie, but there's no demand for a new movie. There isn't. If you don't do that, then have like a good physical release for the film with features with the people that are still around. Do that then. Otherwise, just leave it alone. Let it be a movie of its time with a competently made, decent movie. Again, I liked it. Like I said, I wish it was a bit more action. There's other movies, Indiana Jones films, other stuff that have more excitement and thrills, I would say, compared to this. But it's got a good heart to it. And it's got some likable characters. The set design, the aesthetics, the music, all fairly well done. I do like the film. So, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again. Rocketeer 3K, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.